Hello.
Probably works better if I go like
Yeah, I was
this.
gonna say
Hey,
I can't hear him
I know.
since
It's
it's
me. It's
tense.
me. As people may not be aware, I have a different view as we're starting up, and I don't think you understand how it's stressful for me for the last 20 seconds starting up, not seeing Deana in her seat and just in the
Oh,
last
you can
20
see me
seconds.
when that thing is going on. Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I didn't join through the other thing.
Oh,
Damn, I forgot.
yeah. Because I get to
Oh,
see everything, which is
I was
which
talking to
is
Camilla. She's out camping and having a good time. So
how is she doing? How is she
she's
doing?
good. They had a lot of fun.
Excellent.
They were at Sandbanks.
Excellent.
They're going somewhere else next. Yeah.
Well, she does like. Oh, I mean, you guys have spent a bit of time at Sandbanks. I think she
Yeah,
likes
we did.
Sandbanks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sandbanks is an annual thing. We missed it last year, but it's
Oh,
an
that's too
annual
bad.
thing.
Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining. We got actually a lot of stuff this week.
Yeah.
Um,
You had no
there's.
schedule yesterday, remember?
I
Light
had
on the
no
schedule.
schedule. Yeah, but you know how this works with me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, I got nothing. I got nothing. I got nothing. The last 24 hours,
Yeah,
everything
like
comes in.
everything happens. Yeah, it's
Everything
been busy.
happens all at once. Everything gets kind of put in all at once. Um, it's insane. It's just it's nuts to try to get through it. Again, we've got all sorts of stuff. We're even going to touch a little bit on the international this time. Well, we always kind of touch into it, but we're also going to be focusing on some events from the international, particularly the U.S. side. But before we get there, let's start with something a little bit more local, and I want to talk about Ron Clark. Oh, and I think Deana needs a moment here, so we'll.
Sorry, did I not mute myself?
No, you did mute yourself. You did mute yourself. It's just I see you were on the call. That's why. So before we get into it, I think Deana needs to take a quick call. But while we're into it, we're going to be talking about Ron Clark, and Ron Clark's got a bit of what should I call it? He's got a bit of a bylaw issue going on. So we're going to start off with the first video clip to let him explain it for you guys.
Most of you guys know that I put a brand new sign up on my front lawn. 3 days later, Amanda goes to check the mail, and we have a registered letter. Got a sign for it. It says, the town of Castor has become aware of a freestanding sign located at my address. The development officer inspected the property, apparently yesterday, at around 1600 hours, and evidence was gathered to confirm the contravention. As registered owner of the property, we're
Contravention.
being given this warning letter to ensure that the contravention is remedied in a timely manner. So they want me to remove the sign. That's what they want me to do. All permitted signs shall require the appropriate development permit or building permit to ensure all aspects of the development are in accordance with the Alberta safety codes. You see that? I need a building permit to put a sign on my own front lawn. Under the authority of the land use bylaw, I am providing this warning that the sign is in violation of the land use bylaw and you must remedy the situation by applying for a development permit. Your application and associated costs must be submitted prior to August 15th. And then the nutbag that runs the town office here, she looked at me. And I looked right at her in her face and I said, you don't like my sign? It's not the sign, Ron. It's the bylaw. You need a building permit to have the sign on your lawn. So I tell her, I said, I don't care about the bylaw because bylaws are only put into place to stop us from doing things on our own property. So why don't you send the bylaw officer to my property? And I also told her, so I said, what happens if I don't remove the sign? She says, well, we'll go a little further and we'll have to remove the sign ourselves. So I said, okay, good luck. I said, do not step on my property. That will be trespassing.
No,
I said, send the
don't.
bylaw officer over to my house. So if you really want to go down this road, I said, you're definitely not going to like the sign I'm going to put up beside that one.
So,
Okay,
uh,
contravention. Do you not? How do you not know what contravention is? But yeah, what that carbon taxes future?
yeah. So I can kind of explain. The only thing I was kind of hoping to get is another image that went with it, which was a larger version. Somebody had a larger version of the front of his house that showed the sign amongst the other ones, and I wasn't able to locate it. So this is a rather large, and the reason why I wanted to show that is this is a rather large sign. So generally, when it comes to a lot of housing, you're not going to have much of a problem when it comes to putting a sign on your front lawn. Like usually, though, it's going to be like an election sign, weeding lawn sign, but something like it's about this big kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like you're
Even the for
fine with a
sale
single stick.
sign isn't that big. If
It
there's a
is,
for
and you
sale
don't
sign.
need any things like this.
Yeah.
So the minute they say you need a bylaw, or sorry, you need some sort of permit went out for your sign, it means your sign's now gotten significantly larger. And this one, it is. There's lumber involved. Like there's a construction, like there's anchoring, there's everything to it. This thing, from what I remember seeing in reference, like this thing is like a 3 by 6 foot sign. This is big. Wind could take it away. It could be
And
dangerous.
like kill somebody.
Absolutely. Hence where the building
Like-
permit comes in. This thing's large structure. If it's not properly anchored, put into the ground so it doesn't get picked up by the wind and
Yeah.
go into a car driving by or somebody driving by. Like
He
These
essentially
are
made a
important
sale.
things.
Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
yeah, like a wind sail. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, like, dude.
He-
Yeah.
yeah. He's
How do they not, like, kind of look ahead into the future about consequences, or like how does this affect anybody else? Like, the other thing is there are
anybody
bylaws.
else?
You
Anybody else?
can't do whatever you want on your property. Like, if you don't mow your lawn and keep it updated, even that, and that's not dangerous to anybody, but if you don't like actually maintain your property, then you will also get a warning, and then you will get a fine. So just because it's your property, it doesn't mean that you don't live among other people that have to be safe in that area, or enjoy their space, or it doesn't bring down the whole appearance. Yeah, like they're just, and it's contravention, Ron. Fuck. It's an easy word, and you should fucking know it, because you guys contravene every fucking law possible. Like, you don't even try, or you do try. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but you should know what contravention means, of all people.
It's true.
Get the F off my lawn.
Nice.
Right, Ron? Get the F off my lawn. Is this your F?
It's true, and it's. But again, this is kind of in line with what these guys do. It's like, I don't understand this bylaw. It makes no sense to me. Therefore, I'm just not going to follow it.
Yeah, it's
doesn't
just meant
mean-
to suppress me.
Yeah, it's great. You can ignore it because you don't understand it. It doesn't mean it's still not going to affect you. Like many things in life that you don't understand will still affect you. Laws.
His
diseases.
behavior is like
Entitlement.
and it's reminiscent
Boomer.
of the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Like, they don't care. They only care about how they feel about it, and no care at all about how it can impact anybody else.
Yep. Very much
It's
reminds me of
everything
a
they
toddler.
do. Let's go on the highway. Let's not worry about the fact that we could be a huge distraction on the highway when people are doing 100 kilometers plus an hour. Like,
I want you to remember that highway thing.
yeah, I will. Okay.
Well,
Do my best.
It'll come up later. That's all I'm going to
Okay.
say. It'll
Yeah.
come up later. Not right now, but before we get to there, we're going to have to get to something else, which is, again, Ron. Before I get to Ron, 2 Alberta men charged for uttering threats against Trudeau, Freeland, and Singh, and charged by the RCMP. These are virtual actions and words cross boundaries of the Charter protected speech and constitute criminal activity. Police will investigate thoroughly to hold those responsible and accountable. So what this means is one man in Edmonton and a man from Calgary have been arrested and charged with uttering threats against several political figures. Political figures, including the Prime Minister, in 2 separate investigations by the RCMP's Integrated National Security Enforcement Team, INSET. On May 10th, INSET received a report that a user on a social media platform X had allegedly posted threats to kill Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, RCMP said in a news release on Monday. On June 7th, INSET received a report that a YouTube account user had allegedly posted threats to kill Justin Trudeau, Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, and federal NDP leader Jagmeet Singh. In a digital age, there are so many interactions that occur online and are perceived to be anonymous. There is a belief that virtual actions and words do not have consequences, said Inspector Matthew Johnson, acting officer in charge of the RCMP Federal Policing INSET. Northwest region, and news release. When these virtual actions or words cross the boundaries of charter protected speech and constitute criminal activity, police will investigate thoroughly to hold those responsible accountable. Oof.
Yeah.
So that said, this is kind of a continuation of the conversation from last week, where it's like they're telling, the left's got to be careful with the language and speech.
Yeah.
And here you have it in regards to this. And so my first big thing I'm looking at this is, first of all, this is a continuation of the right. I could probably quote a couple more instances like this that we've even covered in the past. I mean, we have the one on TikTok.
Yeah.
There's the TikTok one. I think and a few others that were marked on there for that same kind of activity.
Yeah, when they
and
went to Stickles' house, remember?
Yeah,
Stickles.
exactly.
Yeah.
Stickles. I mean, even the Quebec, her boyfriend.
Her boyfriend, yeah. What's the name?
Yeah, Melinda Stickles.
No.
Guillaume. No.
Jerome.
Jerome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of them was shot. And after he was talking about, killing also Trudeau and Go, I think in his case.
Yeah.
These are serious things that that the police will take seriously, especially for the fact that when the rhetoric starts, it normalizes and it'll only go in one direction. It always goes in the direction of escalation. Yeah. So you better believe the police are going to take these things seriously.
Get your ear shot at.
Yeah, exactly. Again, action from the right.
Right.
So it's one of those things that that needs to be taken seriously. Unfortunately, Ron's got a different opinion on that.
Of course he does.
We used to have freedom of speech. We used to have freedom of press. We used to be able to
still have it.
Say what we wanted to say. But we no longer can do that. Which leads me to the next one. RCMP on Monday charged 2 Alberta men with uttering threats against Captain Tampon and other Canadian political leaders. One posted on X and the other one posted on YouTube, and they're talking about Freebase Freeland and what name am I going to use for that gentleman?
Oh, for heaven's sake.
The leader of the NDP party.
I just pause this one for a minute. I feel he was trying to find a name. I'm like, nope, somebody's going to call me racist. Nope, somebody's going to call me racist. Nope, somebody's going to call me racist.
Yep.
I was saying he was going to say something racist. But continue on.
So they were uttering threats against them, and now they're facing charges.
Okay.
They're just threats. if our leaders were to actually do their jobs and look out for people in this country, they would never have any threats against them. It's just so crazy that we cannot speak our mind in this country. Anytime that you talk about any of these leaders, oh, they get threats. They don't like what you say, and they put a new bill in, or they pass a new bylaw to stop you from doing anything. It's like protesting. You have the right to peacefully protest in this country. You have the right. And we do it. We peacefully protest all the time. But there's something that we have that some other countries don't have. We still have weapons. We still have stuff to defend ourselves with. And if you don't have those items on hand, well, they can just walk in and take what they want, or they can do whatever they want. They can put you in martial law. They can do all kinds of crazy stuff, and you have no choice but to just lay down and accept what is coming.
It's Armageddon. There's so much to unpack there. I don't even know where to fucking start. Like, that guy is so fucking... Okay, you were never allowed to utter death threats. And I swear to God, if I uttered a death threat, if I did to any of them, they would be fucking losing their minds saying that I need to go to jail because I threatened one of their lives.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, well,
So,
without a doubt.
Like, the hypocrisy is real. There's nothing wrong with wanting justice against somebody you think did something illegal or wrong, but it can't be your kind of justice where you are going to kill that person and take it into your own hands to citizens arrest somebody or to kill them. You just like fuck off. You're not entitled to that. So just like I have no love for Netanyahu, I want to see him not be around, but I wouldn't be the one to do it. It would have to go through the Hague. And I don't know how they deal with war criminals in 2024. I don't know if there's still the death penalty. They hung Saddam Hussein. So
for me, I'm like I follow David Tennant's thing. I was like, I don't wish him harm. I just wish him to go away.
Where'd you go?
I'm right here.
Oh, it froze. What did you say?
I said, I don't wish them harm. I just wish them to go away.
Yes.
So we don't have to see in the public and whatnot. Just go out to have your own little.
And I'm certainly not going to say it on the internet.
No.
Like,
no, but it's exactly it. It's like you don't say, like, you don't make threats or harm towards people. That's just not what you do. Period. And it's. I mean, Ron's now 2 weeks in a row kind of done the same thing. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a knock at the door at some point from the RCMP, because, I mean, he's had his thinking out loud moment last episode we were talking about. It's like, wish somebody would try that with Trudeau.
Yeah.
And now here he is like, I don't see anything wrong with making threats towards these individuals.
Oh, if they would have acted the way we wanted them to act, we wouldn't be sending them death threats. Okay, Ron, like, if you acted the way that I wanted you to act, then that would mean that I would be allowed to, if you didn't act that way, then I could do that too. And you'd be okay with that? If I threatened one of them, would they be okay with that? Because I don't like how they're acting. That's not how the world works. Fuck.
Yep.
Oh my God.
So, yeah.
What was the ending again? What did he say at the end? That one, it was dumb. What was it again?
Oh, give me a second here. I think I can bring it back here.
I know. It's like the last 5 seconds.
But there's something that we have that some other countries don't have. We still have weapons. We still have stuff to defend ourselves with.
Yeah.
And if you don't have those items on hand, well, they can just walk in and take what they want, or they can do whatever they want.
They can
They
still
can put
do
you in
that
martial
even
law.
if you
They
have a
can do all
gun.
kinds of crazy stuff, and you have no choice but to just lay down and accept what is coming.
That's what I wanted to say. Like, it doesn't matter that you have a
Yes.
gun.
You remind me too. Yep.
They could still come into your house and take whatever they want if they have reason to have to come into your house, gun or no gun. Like,
And it goes with that whole American idea of like, you have to get guns to
protect yourself from the government.
protect yourself from the government. It's a foolish notion, and there is a comedian I follow named Neil Brennan, and he's got this little skit that's absolutely fantastic, which talks about the Second Amendment and in regards to some of the principles and whatnot. Now, the Second Amendment was originally in there for the states to have a standing militia to defend against, the British that were coming back.
Right.
That made sense in the 1700s. Like the Second Amendment, as he said, Second Amendment makes total sense in the 1700s when it was needed. But nowadays, they're talking about the Second Amendment's there to protect you from the overpowering, the government if they try to get in there, so you can defend yourself against the government. All right, so your little militia group with some AR-15s is going to defend themselves and succeed in defending themselves from the U.S. military. Number one in size,
Canadian,
technology. Even Canadian, you're absolutely right. But I mean, like the entire government, firepower. Like the states one is just more ridiculous. It's like, your entire militia group versus one military guy commanding a drone. Like, there's just it doesn't even match up. It's like the guy's not even going to see you. The guy's not even going to see you. The drone's going to take you out with a single cluster of hellfire. You're done. Like it's ridiculous. So, but then again, it's Ron. Oh,
Ron is all talk, no action. Yeah, he is.
It is.
Talks the big talk.
But remember I told you to remember about being distractions on the highway? Yeah. Yeah. So
what?
I now will bring you back over to Ontario, to Barrie, Ontario, where we're going to have the Freedom Dance Party. That's right.
Okay, boomers.
The
Sorry,
Freedom
no, the
Dance Party.
It's just going to be a funny party.
Oh, it's going to be something. So this is apparently it's a big rave. Now, I even got
is ACL going to be there?
I don't know. We haven't got much info as to what's going to happen, but all we know is it's going to happen in 2 days. It's going to happen from 5 p.m.
That's right. They just put it out yesterday, didn't they?
They put it out recently. Join us: flag waving, music, food, glow sticks, bubbles, face painting, temporary tattoos, and dancing. So it's going to be July 26th, which is on Friday. Is that Friday? Yeah, it's Friday.
Yeah.
From 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. on the Harvey Road Bridge. Yes.
On the
Harvey Road Bridge. So for those in Barrie, they know exactly where that is. For those not in Barrie, like myself, it looks like this.
Oh, dear. Oh, my God. What? What? Wait, are they going to, they're on the bridge. They did say the bridge. They're so.
It said Harvey Road Bridge.
Is it closed? I don't see any cars on there. Is it closed?
I have no idea how this is going to work. It's so I think Mr. Bibble
knows. Overpass. What does that mean? What's a festive overpass?
No, it's just it's an overpass. They know it's an overpass, but I'm like, it's an overpass. I don't really see much walkways on each side, but
no, me neither. Are they stupid?
Why are you asking that question?
Maybe they're going to go on that top corner patch, their brown patch there, and they're going to be in the ditch because they like.
Maybe they might be in the ditch. There looks like there's construction right below the photo, so they might be in the construction zone. They might be across the thing.
Is that a recent picture?
This, my understanding is, I don't know when the dating of this picture is, but I feel it's not that old. But it's excuse me, It's pretty. It's. Oh, I guess you could probably fit along the edge some people. I mean, I could see, if you got all 20 people out there, they might be able to, fit across the bridge
Hey
along the
guys,
side.
when we said go play in traffic, it was a figure of speech. Like, this is total Darwinism. This is totally like
they're tempting Darwin for sure. But
this is dumb.
It is.
Painting and tattoos, that means children are supposed to come, right? Isn't that
the children part is concerning? Yeah, the children part is concerning. I'm hoping law enforcement is going to be taking a look, like making sure that these guys are not endangering themselves or the children.
Sent this to law enforcement. I hope not everybody was like, somebody must have sent it to them. Somebody better have sent it to them.
Well, we do have some video footage of what they're expecting for the rave portion of the evening going to be, and this is compiled from Susie Van Alberta, based on the Combe dance parties there, and we're assuming that's going to be pretty much the same.
Wee! Whoa! Yeah. Lisa, never ever stop in the middle of a hoedown.
If they have the same numbers, I think they'll fit fine on the side of the bridge.
5 too many, though. That's stupid. So fucking dangerous to the cars and everything. Like, if they want to do shit to themselves, like, I don't know, do it. Yeah. But, like, leave the rest of the world out of it, please.
So I really, really do hope the OPP is aware of this, to at least sort of make sure. I'm not even asking to shut down the event. Let them have their event if they want to, but just
not on the bridge.
Make sure they're not. No. You know what? Let them have their events.
Not on the bridge. There's people driving.
Yeah. Let them have their event as long as it's done safely. Let the police like fine, you can do it, but it's in the middle of the bridge and the roads are already closed off. Fine.
Oh, if it's closed, if the bridge is closed.
Yeah, if the bridge is closed and it's in the middle of the bridge and not close to the side, the point is, whatever the cops decide to do, make sure that it's not going to be affecting the general public. If they want to keep the bridge open and the highway open, then just throw them over to the field. Fine. Whatever.
Why should we shut down the bridge for 5 people who want to go party? Like, I don't think the police would do that, to be honest.
I'm not saying to shut down the bridge. I'm saying if you can, because the bridge is already shut down, that's one thing. If you don't want to and you just want to toss them to the field, do that too. Whatever the police choose, just keep them the fuck away from the goddamn traffic and endangerment, and especially keep the kids away from the traffic. We want these guys to play in the traffic, not the kids.
They're getting, like, dumber and dumber as it
are they?
I don't know. Were they always like that? And how did they live so long? Like, how did they survive?
I don't know. Because, I mean, they've been doing flag waving for a while, but so there's
a difference between flag waving and having children on that overpass that we're seeing that has no sidewalk and nowhere to go. Like, you're literally on this really long ass bridge with children, and you're doing face painting and stuff on the side of the road on a bridge. Holy fuck, I don't even know.
There's definitely an escalation going on. There's definitely an escalation going on in regards to
stupidity,
the dumb shit they're doing. Because you're right. Up to this point, they were just flag waving. I don't think they really had that many kids there, and they're just standing there waving flags, pretending to be important. Even the flag waving, I've always viewed as a bit concerning because they're waving these flags in the same way as hanging the signs over the bridges and whatnot. It can be dangerous if you don't anchor a sign correctly. Yeah. It could drop into the highway, and that is a dangerous thing.
That's why you get the permit, so you know what you're supposed to do or whatever, and you pay to have a sign that big. The Harvey.
Oh yeah, but that's part of bylaws. And bylaws are just there to stop me from doing the things I want to do.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Gribble Pibble said
Mhm.
that there is a sidewalk on the overpass on the Harvey Road Bridge, but it's nothing big enough to have a gathering on it.
So I'm going to assume that means you're not going to be able to have a rave there.
With kids?
Could we have a bubble machine at least?
Just nuts.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Not you, Mr. Gribble. It's the entire dance, rave, flag waving, freedom party on a bridge. You want to go have a freedom party? Go have it in a hall. Go have it in somebody's house, a backyard. Go have it in a park. Go have it in a field. Go have it in a
come they
place
don't
where
learn
parties happen.
From the mistakes that they made? They knew that they were a distraction on the highway that caused an accident, and now they want to go right back to a highway, but a bridge, no less.
Well, that's exactly it, and it's one of those. There is so many other places you can try to do your protests at, and I get you want to do something that's escalating, but being a danger to the public,
I think they like that.
cool. I don't think the public that you're putting in danger does.
Yeah, it's their MO. They always want to put the public in danger. That's been their MO since the fucking pandemic.
That's fair. That's true. I cannot disagree.
Yeah, agreed, Mr. Gribble Pibble. Again, there's Parks and Berry. These groups just want to be seen and think
Well,
they're accomplishing something.
I mean, I get the desire to be seen, because again, if you're going to be doing protests of some sort, you're going to be wanting your message to be seen.
What's their message again?
I'm not sure. They're
Freedom
not very
Party.
good.
They didn't have a message. They just said we're going to have tattoos and shit. So they haven't even outlined. You know, when we put out the posters for the Palestinian rallies, there's always a title, like it's for something specific.
Mhm.
These guys are just like.
Well, we've had this discussion before. Well, that's the thing. We've had this discussion before in regards to
over and over
when
again.
all the actions that we've gone to and whatnot. The message has always been very consistent or a very specific way. It is like the Palestinian protests. The messaging is very, very consistent and very, very specific and repeated over and over. You know, freedom for Palestine.
And then they're talking about something specific, like all eyes on Rafah. You know, and
exactly.
Beginning, it was like end the apartheid, end the occupation in Gaza. All eyes on Rafah. Like
there's,
why you're going there.
There's permutations and subtleties to from event to event, but the main messaging has always been the same in regards to what it is. So there's not really much in regards to guess in regards to pro-Palestine. Same thing with the two LGBTQ defenses. It's very much where we're fighting for the rights of this marginalized group. And most of these other events and protests have always had a very clear, concise, specific messaging. And you'll see on the signs, you'll see to the spokespeople and this and whatnot. This freedom stuff, you talk to the people. Axe attacks, cool. What does that mean? Well, we axe attacks, and then everything's better. Why? Because it's the tax that needs to be axed because it's making everything
going to go
bad.
lower in price because it's like a chain effect. Oh, shut up. You know nothing.
It's these guys are so on Friday I recommend people probably avoid the bridge area, particularly going under the bridge, just a safety precaution.
Unless you have the window open and a dozen eggs in your car.
Well,
do something.
We don't recommend doing that. No. If it happens,
I just said unless you have it, like maybe you just happen to have that. You know,
we're not recommending it, but if it happens, it happens.
It's not a death threat. Watch, they're gonna freak out because I said that.
Probably.
It's funny. It's funny.
I'm laughing. Don't worry. Have egg on your face. Eggs for the family. There we go. Like it. I like it a lot.
It's going to be a very exciting party. I'm so excited.
Speaking of exciting news, we've got events coming up, and so I want to put a little spotlight in regards to these that may need attention. So, as you all remember, last year, September 20th was a big particular event, the Million Person March.
Yeah.
Now, there's been an announcement by Kamel that he was planning on trying to bring this back again, but seeing what was going on, we're not really seeing much, so we weren't too concerned. But there's a bit more concern now because I've got a bit more concern now, hence why I'm bringing it up here, because it's now being brought up by Campaign Life Coalition. Now, if you're not familiar with Campaign Life Coalition, their biggest events that they usually sort of bring people out to is the anti-abortion rallies on Parliament Hill.
March for Life.
March for Life. Yeah.
March for Life, yeah.
So they're usually
and that brought out a lot of people, you guys.
It did.
So, like I said, they are never going to have a protest like that again in Ottawa, where I am not going to try really fucking hard to get a lot of people out there. There were some young people out there. I live streamed that, actually. I remember.
Yep.
And it's like it's a collective of different religious extremists. You had like people who looked either Mormon or Amish, I don't know, whatever. They had the dress, like there was a bunch of those. There were like, hardcore Christians. I don't know. It was weird. I have to look back at the thing, but it was all the extremists, and there were too many of them to go unchecked and unanswered. So when that comes up again, we have to go out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I showed them my boobs.
I remember that. Well, I don't remember your boobs.
Yeah.
I remember you talking to me about
all the women were all like meh, 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 across the fence, and they were very clutch pearls. So I just went meh, and then like totally clutch pearls, and then they walked around, and all of a sudden, all the men were at the fence. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so, buddies. My milkshakes brought the boys to the yard. Sent the women off running.
They did. It's kind of entertaining.
My body, my choice.
It is kind of entertaining that it was more the women than the men that were scared off by your toplessness.
Are you saying my breasts are scary?
I'm not saying anything about your breasts.
Well, why would the men run away from my breasts?
No, the men didn't. The women did. I'm not telling you they should or shouldn't. I'm just telling you what the facts lie. Or facts are saying. Apparently, you scared them off with your breasts. Not sure it's the breasts, personality, or just you in general. Either is possible.
They were appalled.
It's true. And I think some of them thought it was illegal, not realizing Ontario law states you're allowed to. Everybody's allowed to be topless.
That lady showed her breasts to me. Which one?
Well, yeah. The funny thing, though, I remember this is the police in Ontario at one point tried to arrest somebody, a woman,
they did arrest
for
her.
being.
In Guelph.
Did they?
Are you talking about in Guelph, or like since the law has passed? You mean?
It was after the law was passed.
Oh.
Yeah, somebody like there was like some women that were outside. They were topless. I think they were on bicycles. The detail for some reason I remember. And the police officer was about to try to arrest them, and they're there going, "You can't." Like the court already said, we're allowed to be. That's not happening. You could try it, but you're going to get in trouble. Go ahead. Don't ask me for my ID.
I bet you the cops knew that.
Topless.
They just wanted to walk up to 3 topless women and talk to them and pretend that they had a reason to be there. For real. think that's what.
Possibly.
Like, how can? I mean, cops are stupid. They don't know their laws. Clearly, not all of them know what the hell's going on. So it's possible that cop.
They'll know the main laws that they need to enforce and they kind of deal with all the time, but sort of the nuance of this is indecent exposure. I can't,
But they were
not know all the laws.
They were called there though, which means that dispatch also didn't know the law because somebody would have had to call it in, right?
Mhm.
I mean, that's what would have happened.
So I don't know what dispatch is, but if dispatch are not police officers and they're civilians just
they're civilians.
managing calls, well, they're just
Like
managing calls.
Yeah,
police officers needed there. That's it. So they're not doing any research or doing anything else. They're just like, yeah, cop, go there, take care of the issue.
Efficient system we have. So efficient.
Yeah.
They need 50 million more of our dollars.
Yeah, that's right. Because they can turn another bedroom into a goddamn command center.
Yeah, that'll help them.
Yeah. But aside from this event, we got another event, and this one's for the York-Durham area that we need to talk about, and it is this one here. This one also came across from the Cookie Lady. If you didn't realize that, well, there's a big cookie there to tell you. But the town hall in the park saved the date. And the reason this one's of significance is it's hosted by Patricia Cullen, the PPC candidate for York-Dunham. Who is there going to be the guest speakers there? None others than Maxime Bernier, Dr. Paul Alexander, Matthew Arrett, Greg Wycliffe, and Scarlett Martin, and some others.
Greg Wycliffe. Oh, yeah, Greg Wycliffe. Ran. Didn't he run for...
He did run. I don't know if he's going to run again.
Why. Yeah,
I remember him at June 9th. He came to me trying to ask me questions with the most ghetto-looking microphone there was. I'm like, dude, that's like Bob Barker just...
It was a weird thing.
It was very much a get away from me kind of thing. I was like,
well, I was get away from me too. I didn't want to talk to him. He's annoying.
No, he was. I told him to go away.
But they don't say which park it is, do they?
No. Well, you have to understand how these guys work. Location. Sign up for emails to get the address.
Oh, they're trying to. Oh, hilarious! I think they're trying really hard to get some frenzy from, the rest of us. Well, who cares? They're having a stupid PPC fucking thing.
Well, no, I think they're trying to sort of protect themselves because, again, they're afraid of counter protesters or demands for people to shut down these events.
I think this is a marketing ploy.
Think so?
Yeah, fucking right, I do. Nobody fucking gives a shit if they get together in a goddamn park. Why do we give a shit if they get together in a goddamn park? It's like, who's going to show up? Those 5 people and maybe another 15. Okay, that's what's going to happen at that fucking stupid thing. Nobody gives a shit about Dr. Paul Alexander. Nobody gives a shit about Matthew. Who the fuck are these people? Nobody fucking knows who these people are. Gives a shit. No, they're trying to go off the coattails of Road Rage or whatever their stupid name is, Jeremy McKenzie, for people to get all up in arms about it and be like, let's cancel them. And then they get all this, whatever.
Well, yeah, but even before that, they've had, a lot of these guys have been doing this sort of secret event kind of location. Even before Road Rage, we had Danger Cats coming into Ottawa, and they kept the location secret till somebody accidentally slipped it out from the venue.
Mm-hmm.
And and now we got Road Rage who's doing it. They're keeping it secret until they find out. Then you've got and I'm sure like Christine Anderson and others now trying to do their tours. They can be doing the same thing as well. Just because they know people are going to try to cancel now.
Yeah.
I being one of them. I'll
Maybe
admit.
the and more is, but it's a private farm. So you're not going to cancel them if it's their own private farm.
No, they won't. Bring family, friends, and neighbors to our private farm for a day.
And if it's a private farm, you can't counter protest there anyways. I mean, you go across the street, but you can't go on their property. So
no, you can't go on the property.
Nobody cares. Go to your fucking farm and go have your little barbecue. Nobody fucking cares.
It's true.
This is a non-story for me. I mean, it's a good story. We're talking about it, but it's a non-thing for me. They're stupid.
Yeah, I mean, the guests were kind of like, so, you got some dregs. You got a lot of dregs. Cool.
They're all losers.
They are. But
how many votes do each of them get? Like, they don't even make 1% of the votes. Like, just...
if somebody can check me up for Greg Wycliffe, I feel he has something like 300 votes.
Yeah. Like...
And it was a sad number. Like in comparison to the rest of the area. Like, it was not good. But again, it's PPC. Like this, it's the extreme, and especially when you have somebody like the PCs right now trying to jump into it, in regards to trying to capture that crowd and that audience now, you're just not going to get it. Like, you're not going to get it at all. So, ending that there, we're going to go over to a new topic to be aware of, because still going into the entire trend of events coming up. And this one's a new one that I was made aware of this one last year, but I didn't pay too much attention. I remember a little bit about it, but I'm paying attention this year. Take a listen.
A Christian nationalist known for flouting public health precautions during the pandemic, failing as a GOP candidate, and posting trash takes online is coming to Canada. And while it's easy to write him off as a joke because of his more ridiculous takes, like hating Taylor Swift's explicit lyrics, despite explicitly ripping off her OG hairstyle, one extremism researcher told me we should take him very seriously. So first off, who is this guy? Well, this MAGA preacher is named Sean Feucht. He rose to prominence in 2020 when he flouted COVID-19 precautions to hold mass religious gatherings across the US. And then, like many rage baiters who blew up during that time, pivoted to spreading anti-LGBTQ tropes, flagrant misogyny, and generally extreme ideology. But don't take my word for it. According to Kate Burns, a Christo-fascism and extremism researcher based in the US, Feucht and his ilk aren't your run-of-the-mill evangelicals. She told me they approach their events like guerrilla warfare campaigns. Quote, no longer confined to the church walls, they are taking up territory on the streets while spreading their extreme ideology. Take, for example, when Feucht decided to take to the streets of downtown Portland to, cast out demons. He brought security, which, according to Rolling Stone, included at least one charged January 6th defendant and a notorious member of the Proud Boys. And Feucht warned in a social media post that if you mess with either this security or his right to worship God, you'll meet Jesus. One way or another. Anyways, Burns told me that, quote, beyond their hostile approach to LGBTQ rights, these folks are ardent anti-abortion advocates, envision a whole-scale Christian takeover of society, and believe that their prophecies and apostolic leadership give them license to push a far-right, MAGA-fied version of Christianity as the one true gospel. In case you think she's being dramatic, Feucht has admitted he wants society to be run by God. His definition of God, that is. Take a listen.
You're a Christian nationalist. You want the kingdom to be the government. Yes. You want God to come and overtake the government. Yes. You want Christians to be the only ones that, yes, we do.
And according to Burns, this dude doesn't want to stop with America. Quote, don't let their happy, clapping, shiny Jesus front fool you. These are some of the most ardent Christian supremacists in America. And this September, they'll be in Canada. Just great. What do you think of all this?
I think I need to find the locations.
Yeah, well, everybody up, it's time.
I found the locations.
Nice.
So September, they'll be in Halifax, Hamilton, Calgary, and Fort Langley. So I have a message out to everybody. Have I posted this already? If you're in the areas, I know some of our listeners are. Halifax, Hamilton, Calgary, Fort Langley. If you're aware, try to get out there, let people know, and get organized and be prepared. If you're
Hamilton has a Nazi problem, so I can see why they're going to Hamilton.
Calgary and Fort Langley, I'd say has a bigger one, but yeah.
Halifax is not going to. No, but Hamilton. Did you see how many people came out?
Halifax, Nova Scotia. You know, Nova Scotia, place where
they're not going to do
is
very well there.
The place where Diagolon is.
There's like 2 people from Diagolon there.
There's a significant presence there.
There's
Yeah.
more anti-fascists than there are fascists, though.
It's there. There's definitely tension there, and there's definitely some, and people from there can probably discuss it, and they should on Friday. Let us know what kind of
Yeah.
activity is going on down there. Come Friday. But yeah, so these are pretty interesting spots. The only thing I thought was kind of interesting is like I didn't see any of the main urban areas. Like I don't see Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, Vancouver. Very sort of what I call kind of safe zones, with the exception of kind of Hamilton. Sorry, Halifax. I'd say like really safe zones, like Calgary and Fort Langley. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty blue. That's pretty conservative areas. Hamilton kind of is.
Yeah.
So,
Are they God-fearing in Nova Scotia, Lady Blue Noser? Are they like racist is one thing, being like ultra-Christian racist is a whole other thing. Yeah.
it is. And it's so I think I saw part of the videos. Like, aside from him doing sermons and speeches, he also does a lot of music. So, a lot of Christian music.
Yeah. Maybe that's the kind of music they're going to play at their bridge party.
Oh, maybe.
Bridge rave. They want to meet Jesus one way or another.
That's possible. It's kind of weird and disturbing, but at this point, I'm like,
Yeah, well, everybody, Halifax, Hamilton, Calgary, Fort Langley, be ready. September. Everybody up, it's time.
yeah. Actually, just let's be honest here. With all the three events, just everybody everywhere. September.
September.
Period.
Shut
That's
them
it.
down.
That's all.
2 months. 2 months to plug it into our calendars. Is there a date in September? Mr. Gribble Pibble is asking.
I don't have dates yet, so I don't have the specific dates. I just know of those. That's what they've announced. I have the feeling they may be doing the same stuff.
What if they come? What if they're part of that stupid Canada for Life, and they're going to come at around that time?
To what, Ottawa?
Yeah, for the September 20th thing. Not to Ottawa.
No.
The Canada for Life, is that just in Ottawa, or are they planning on doing this stupid thing all over the place again?
They're probably going to be trying to do this thing all over the place again, too. So more than likely, there's a good chance that show may or may not be somewhere in one of those areas, in one of those cities, depending how they're doing it. If it's September, like I said, those 4 locations, September, cool. I'd be thinking it'd be one of the 4 weekends. Which is weird. Like, if they just do 1 day per city, I'm like, that's kind of expensive. I figured you'd probably want to do as many in a short amount of time as possible.
He's from the States, and he's a fucking preacher grifter. He doesn't care how much it costs. Somebody's funding this. He doesn't give a shit about how expensive it is.
That's a good point.
He's trying to get more people to contribute to his grift. It's going to come around Canada. People are going to follow him, give him money. Blah, 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 blah.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
This is marketing for him.
That's true. And especially if they're spreading beyond the border.
Yeah.
That could be something good.
It's an effort.
It is. So we're now going to kind of move away from these right-wing / Christo-fascist guys and move towards discussions in regards to the Israel-Palestine. Different level, different category.
Different extremists.
Different extremists. Exactly. So in this particular case, we're going to start with Niagara Falls.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Niagara Falls, on July 21st, last Saturday, there was a pretty epic event. Mm-hmm. And I only learned about it during the time too, after the fact. And it had to, and I'm looking at the badges here from a couple of our friends that we follow in Toronto. And this was an event at Niagara Falls on both the U.S. and Canada side where they were, solidarity for Palestine across the colonial border. Join us for this historic assembly where comrades on both sides of Niagara Falls will gather in support of Palestine. So it was a fantastic concept, a fantastic event. I've got a couple of shots and photos here as I go through. This is one right from the falls themselves. You can see, and I think they're, from what I can tell, they're on, I think this one's on the American side. And beautiful sign of Gaza as groups come to the park. And there's one particular shot I want to get to here where you can see the other crowd across on the other side of the border, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. Again, Turtle Island stands with Palestine being both Canada and the U.S. What do you think?
I think it's amazing. I think it's awesome. I'm sorry I missed it. But yeah.
Agreed.
The tide is turning, man. The tide is turning.
It is.
The tide is turning.
It is. I mean, this is kind of a wonderful thing, which was going to help us go into the next part. But yeah, I mean, this is the entire event.
Now we're organizing cross-border. I mean, it's always been organized because they have these massive marches internationally, even on certain days. But yeah, like to do something like this is fantastic. It is amazing.
Yeah.
And people are involved in this. Like it is, the tide is turning.
Yeah.
There's a revolution underway.
It is. It's absolutely, hang on, I need some water here. No, it absolutely is. It's an incredible thing because the fact that they're able to organize together, and the fact that it's also indicative that there's a large growth that's increasing.
Yep.
And it's huge. They're getting bigger. The movement's getting bigger. It's growing. It gets a little bit more into thank you, Michigan. Into everything else that's going.
So the ICJ came up with their ruling.
That brings us to the next part, which is that's right. That's my line that was missing. Which gets into the ICJ.
So the International Court of Justice was asked to rule on. You'll hear it. She'll read the exact thing that they were asked to look at.
Well, there's a preamble before we get to that, but we are going to get to that too. So I'm going to start off with a preamble as to the explanation. So, because again, the video clip we have was going to explain a little bit more in regards to the details, but I'm going to start off with this here, which is Stark ruling. ICJ finds Israel guilty of apartheid against Palestinians and its military occupation. And annexation of Palestinian illegal as territory.
Palestinian territory as illegal, yeah.
So, article from Al Jazeera saying the same thing. The International Court of Justice has ruled Israel's continued presence in occupied Palestine territory is unlawful and should come to an end as rapidly as possible. Nawaf Salam, president of the ICJ in Hague, read out the non-binding advisory opinion issued by the 15-judge panel on Israel's occupation of Palestinian territory on Friday. Judges pointed out to a wide list of policies, including the building and expansion of Israeli settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, use of areas' natural resources, the annexation and imposition of permanent control over lands, and discriminatory policies against Palestinians, all of which, it said, violated international law. The court said Israel has no right to sovereignty of these of the territories. It's violating international laws against acquiring territory by force and is impeding Palestinians' right to self-determination. It said other nations were obliged not to render aid or assistance in maintaining Israel's presence in the territory. It said Israel must end settlement construction immediately and existing settlements must be removed, according to a summary of the more than 80-page opinion read by Salam. And last part I want to say, the court's opinion was sought in a 2022 request from the United Nations General Assembly. This is not a recent request.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that that point was put in there. This had to do with an earlier request
Yep.
that came in. So I'm going to bring up the video clip here. Sorry, being a terrible producer. And that should do it here.
From the evidence presented to it and on the basis of its analysis that a broad array of legislation adopted and measures taken by Israel in its capacity as an occupying power treat Palestinians differently on grounds specified by international law. The court notes that this differentiation of treatment cannot be justified with reference to reasonable and objective criteria, nor to a legitimate public aim. Accordingly, the court is of the view that the regime of comprehensive restrictions imposed by Israel on Palestinians in the occupied Palestinian territory constitutes systematic discrimination based on inter-area, race, religion, or ethnic origin in violation of Article 2, Paragraph 1 and 26 of the ICCPR, Article 2, Paragraph 2 of the ICESCR, and Article 2 of CERT.
Their main complaint has been this opinion ignores October 7th. And of course, you can expand on this, but well, of course it does. This is what like all the IHL lawyers who wrote me back said, and it has to ignore October 7th because before they can rule on anything after October 7th, they need to set the tone on what laws apply, whether it's NIAC, non-international armed conflict, or IAC, international armed conflict, and when and where human rights law applies. So yes, it needs to know what the legal status of things were before October 7th. This isn't political or biased. This is just how any legal case needs to start with the applicable law.
The ICJ was actually called by the United Nations General Assembly in order to answer one fundamental question as well. And the fundamental question was, and I'm reading directly, is does Israel's occupation of the West Bank and East Jerusalem constitute as temporary or permanent, meaning full annexation, right? And this is going to be significant with regards to October 7th as well, specifically, because by establishing the parameters, as in what is the current status of Gaza as well. If Gaza is an occupied territory, if it constitutes occupied territory, then Israel no longer legitimately has a right to Article 51 as well, which is the article for the right to defend themselves or the right to self-defense, because that is exclusive to an interstate conflict, which is what we mean by international two different state actors. Okay. And the fact that the ICJ has now basically formalized officially East Jerusalem, the West Bank, and Gaza, and that's I think even most significant, are constituted as illegally occupied territories, means that the events on October 7th will now be viewed as not two interstate conflicts from occurring, but rather an internal conflict that is occurring within Israel, because Gaza is occupied territory that now constitutes effectively as part of Israel. And if Gaza is therefore occupied territory, and of course the West Bank and East Jerusalem, then we also have to discuss the right of the Palestinians, which is the right to resist, which is also enshrined in international law as well. Because if we look at the Oslo Accords, right, of 1993, the Oslo Accords were made sort of the conditions were, and this goes back to the resolution, oh God, I can't remember, I think it was resolution 247. Please don't quote me. I might be wrong. I might have the numbers shuffled in my head. The main resolution with regards to the occupied Palestinian territories in 1968. And what it had said was, and this has been set as international law, that if the Palestinians were to recognize Israel's right to exist, this would sort of trigger a pathway towards the end of the occupation gradually and the existence or the creation of a Palestinian state. And then fast forward into 1993, the establishment of the Oslo Accord, and at the time, the leader, which was of the PLO, which was obviously Yasser Arafat, and it was at the time when PLO now was removed as a terrorist organization and basically acknowledged as the sort of leading authority of Palestinians, Yasser Arafat had recognized Israel's right to exist as a pretext to begin negotiations in order to establish gradually, supposedly over the years, Palestinian statehood. Yet it was Israel. So Palestinians have actually recognized and taken Israel and taken the steps necessary in order to essentially continue with the negotiations and to finalize a decision where both basically states can live side by side. And it's been Israel up until this point that has never recognized Palestine's right to exist, has never recognized Palestinians even as a people. And this has basically been a modus operandi for Israel as a state continuously up until this day. And then without wanting to sort of get into all the history with regards to the supposedly Bill Clinton offer as well. Again, we saw the Palestinians willing to make a lot of concessions, but this is exactly why Israel would never actually take a case like this to the court, because you have so much fact-based evidence essentially to prove that the Palestinians have gone above and beyond to try to negotiate a deal or come to a settlement with Israel to end the occupation. And it's Israel that is consistently the one that is an obstacle. And last point, I mean, we also have leaked footage and documents of Netanyahu quite honestly stating he wanted to end the Oslo Accords. And throughout much of his presidential campaigns over the years, he said, vote for my party. We're going to prevent a Palestinian state from existing. And this has gone on record, and it's not something that they've been hiding. So this is why, I mean, they don't really have a claim to anything that they're saying, and blaming the Palestinians is old narcissistic gaslighting to victim blame and delude the public that may not know the history. What happened is that you have the ICJ ruling that East Jerusalem, like we said, the West Bank and Gaza are officially illegally occupied by Israel. And the ICJ effectively ordered that Israel must immediately end its occupation. This means that the end of the occupation is no longer contingent to Israel and Palestine reaching some sort of settlement, which means that they both have to negotiate and find a resolution. This means that no matter what Palestine or Israel's relationship is irrelevant. Israel has to end the occupation, and that is it. And a Palestinian state will have to be established, and Israel has effectively no say. And
then it's going to develop after it gets sent to the UN General Assembly, and then it looks like something's going to be passed where some actual movement on this issue needs to be made.
All settlers need to leave. So even at the negotiating table, if, for example, the United States abstains, they will not be able anymore to have the kind of negotiating leverage that they once had. It will just be the end. So no more settlers staying in the West Bank, no more possibilities that they're going to the next part. And I also think it's worth discussing because like the ICJ also ruled in its decision that it's issued a warning that no state should help Israel sustain its occupation and its apartheid system. And this is also going to be very, very important going forward, because that means that action could actively be taken by other member states now against the US, against the UK, against Germany, and any country that will continue to facilitate Israel's occupation and Israel's apartheid system, whether it's financial aid or military support. This is all going to incriminate the Western states.
It's so important.
It is. There's a lot in there to unpack. Yeah. So there's a bunch of things there to keep in mind. So there's some goodness and there's still some crappy in there. So I'll start with the crappy part, which is it is a non-binding decision. So that makes it problematic because, again, ICJ can make declarations. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite force people. But there still is, this is still on the record, there's no arguing now. ICJ has decided this is an apartheid situation. You can now argue whatever you want, and you can do whatever you want. You're right. But you're going to be viewed under the lens of what the International Court has said.
I disagree with you on all that. it's non-binding.
Mhm.
It was never meant to be binding. They were just supposed to rule on what the law is so that it can go to the ICC, which is the International Criminal Court. And then because the criminal court now understands that it has been a legal resistance instead of an aggression or a terror attack, now the criminal court can actually rule based on the facts of the matter, right? And so that's the point, is that this, and they were very clear about all of it, and the fact that they just threw out the Oslo Accord, and that it's like this, they shouldn't be occupying and I think this totally matters. I think
This absolutely matters. What's going to help this is more support from countries. And the more that countries support this decision and support these actions and recognize the ICJ's rulings, it's going to help. And it's, again, things of economic value. So we've got countries, I believe France has jumped in there too, but there's an example here of countries, and I'm not sure if this is directly linked to the ICJ's ruling or if this is just happenstance. Some of the recent events that have been coming up that have recently occurred. China's announced their design for their Olympic events for Paris, and it's got a very, very heavy theme in regards to Palestine.
It's beautiful.
It is. You've also got Norway, largest private pension fund withdraws from U.S. construction firm over Israeli home demolitions in the West Bank. Norway's largest pension fund has done a lot of divestment and is working on divesting everything. You've also got Japan, who just recently imposed sanctions on Israeli settlers for the violence against Palestinians in the West Bank. So there's starting to be consequences. We even got locally here, OPSU's now supposed to support BDS movement and divest from Israel. So everything from OPSU, which is a significantly large union.
Yeah,
which is great because
done it, right? I think QP already did it. Now OPSU did it. Yeah,
absolutely. Labor for Palestine is massive. They are including a large amount of unions, and if
we'll get a lot of announcements coming for sure. CAPE probably will be the next one.
CAPE, QP, a few others. I'm sure they're all going to be coming and falling in there.
I think QP already did it.
Oh, did they?
I think
fantastic.
So. That's what I thought.
Quite possible. Yeah, it's quite possible. So I mean, it's fantastic to come and to see because again,
you forgot about Australia, and I sent you one. I said this was just an hour ago when I was looking for the BDS Australia, and then 14 provinces from China got together and signed the Beijing Declaration, which is to officially.
It may not have gotten to me. That's why.
Oh darn. Okay. Yeah. Well. That's why. To officially declare Palestine as a state. And then, the Australian one, I'll just, I think it was a city in Australia that made the decision to divest.
Joe. Yeah, the China one.
City of Canterbury, Bankstown Council, Australia passes BDS motion to review its investments. The motion targets companies complicit in human rights violations against the Palestinian people and the supply of weapons to Israel. There's no way I can make you see this. Too bad. Yeah. I was going to post it on Twitter. I'll do it after because I want it to be one of my numbered tweets to the politicians I have that I tag.
And I see here the article here, and I'm not going to be able to bring it up here, but yes, the China just brought Palestinian resistance together. 14 parties and organizations have signed the Beijing Declaration in a key move toward the establishment of an independent Palestinian state. China builds, the U.S. bombs, genocides. Yeah.
In the establishment of it. So on that also, though, is that the countries can BDS, which is what they should be doing. But once the thing is if a country wants to take them to the criminal court, any Western country or any country that's aiding and abetting, it will happen. South Africa will take Canada to court. South Africa will take the United States to court. South Africa will, Indonesia will do it. China will probably do it. Like these things are going to happen. So
It'd be
this
interesting to see.
ICJ
And
ruling is
yeah,
super important.
so
That's why Israel's shitting their pants and sending their fucking.
Israel is shitting their pants a little bit, but right now they still got Big Brother United States protecting them, and this is where the nuance and this is where the pain in the ass part comes in because United States was able to get themselves a sort of like an unqualified immunity from the ICJ. They're like, and the reality is because well, we're so big, we're just not going to respond to any of your requests should anything ever come to us. And they're kind of exercising that now. And it's always been sort of, and to me, I've always viewed this as like this is a huge problem when it comes to United Nations, to international courts, whatnot. When you can just opt in and opt out to it. That's the idea.
They're going to be on an island in the middle of the sea, just fucking the small group of Western countries. Like there is going to be.
U.S. is a tough one, though.
People can't feel this revolution that is happening. Like if you do not feel what is happening.
U.S. is a tough one. The U.S. is going to be a tough one. It's going to take the people of the U.S. to really
They're
crack.
They're going to go down, though. Their economy is fucking done.
It's not as easy. Like, I mean, if any other country, yeah, you know what? I agree with you. But U.S. they put themselves such in the center of the entire economy. If they've really got a gun to everybody's temple going, like, we go down, you all come with us. Like, they've made the world that way.
No, Africa is decolonizing themselves right now, and they are going to be the richest continent on the planet. They are in the midst of their revolution. There is a fantastic global revolution that is happening right now, and it is.
I have no doubt in regards to that, but I'm still talking about taking down something like the states to get them to go to the courts. That's still a large, complicated.
I'm sorry. I'm already at the stage of war. My bad.
All right.
I've jumped to war already.
All right.
They're not. Africa's not going to play.
No, but no, and that's fair. And I don't know enough about in regards to what right now the situation in Africa to be able to comment on it. I just know in regards to the U.S. Yeah, I'm just talking about in regards to the U.S. and getting them to the ICJ.
France is
that's
fucked.
Just going to be. It's going to be taking a while. France has got the whole new election came in. France is going to be.
No, not just that. They're fucked because they're losing all of their colonies in Africa and Guadeloupe and whatever.
As the descendants of a former French colony, yeah, they're not really good at maintaining their colonies.
They've done very well so far. They have a lot. Côte d'Ivoire. They have Senegal.
She says to a partial Acadian.
Well, that's one little. That was
little.
Yeah.
One little.
They still have like the Carib. They still have Haiti. They still have friggin'
Quebec, New Brunswick, Louisiana.
Oh,
it was all of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was. Yeah, the French were never fantastic with the colonies. The only one I'm kind of surprised they still have is Ile de Magdenne, which is just right beside Newfoundland. Not Ile de Magdenne, but the one that's close by. That is France. That is actual France.
You were talking about the Acadians and stuff. That's not France.
That was France. Absolutely. That was a French colony.
Okay.
Then they lost it to the British.
Yeah.
Like I said, my point being, they're not great at maintaining their colonies. They're shit. So.
Well, they're going down.
Absolutely. PI and Nova Scotia. So. But continuing on in regards to the entire what was it? Continuing on in regards to the entire thread of again Palestine and Israel. We're gonna take a quick trip.
Hold on a second.
What?
I want to say this. We are seeing. Okay, we were talking about BDS. This is why that last piece is so important to me to show everybody. Yes. Not only does Canada, all these places are divesting. They now have the ruling from the ICJ. You will be, or you may be, criminally responsible for supporting the apartheid. It is now ruled in apartheid. It is now ruled in annexation. It is ruled all of these things. So this is my call out to every fucking pride event that is happening, that is going to be happening in August, whether it be Montreal, Ottawa, whoever, even whatever pride, Nova Scotia. This is the time now, because I know for sure the Queers for Palestine and other communities have been reaching out to Pride in their different cities and trying to find out where they stand, because Pride is a protest. Like, there are many people who are, counting on Pride to divest. You have your reason now to divest if it was something, you didn't want to touch before. Now you have no choice but to touch this. You have no choice but to remove any of these companies that are supporting the genocide. Please, Pride, can you do this? All of you. And anybody who's participating in Pride, speak up. They have a board of directors in every city. Speak up. Put the pressure on to divest from these corporations who are slaughtering Palestinians, and even worse now because the settlers are going in like crazy. The minute that ruling came in, there was a huge uptick in settler violence. And you should know that when the genocide started on October 7th, 8th, whatever, Netanyahu gave out 250,000 guns to settlers. He was not just arming the IOF, he armed the settlers to go into these occupied places. And so once the ruling came in, they're burning houses and fucking shooting people and torture and dogs, all of that. Pride needs to distance themselves from all of that. That's
Absolutely.
it. Rant over.
Excellent. So now we are going to go and talk about Netanyahu.
Yeah, fucking war criminal.
So this is the call out poster from Washington, D.C. So obviously we definitely stand with the people in Washington, D.C. They were standing up in regards to Netanyahu's arrival. And there's you guys can take a look in regards to a lot of the feeds. We're not going to discuss too much of his speech there. There's plenty of people doing the analysis there. We're going to focus a little bit more in regards to the actions outside in regards to counter protesters. For one, Jewish Voices for Peace camped in Congress building. 400 people went there and took over. And they stayed there for as long as possible until, of course, the obvious happened, where the Capitol Police came in to arrest 300 plus Jewish people who were camping and protesting against Netanyahu. And again, they went through again, and these were peaceful protesters. No there's no reports of any violence or anything else. Just mass arrest.
They like to sing. They sit and they sing and stuff.
They did.
It's fantastic. And it sounds beautiful. Why would they have to remove people for sounding beautiful?
There were some great acoustics in there too.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I mean, look at the hall. Look at the acoustics in that hall right there. Come on.
Probably amazing.
Absolutely.
Why would they have to remove them? You know why? Because they're a bunch of fucking anti-Semites upholding the fucking colonial bullshit. That's why.
So yeah, a fair amount of people went there. But
that anti-Semite arresting that peaceful Jewish person.
So aside from the Jews, the Jewish people trying to take over the Capitol building to try to stop Netanyahu going through, there was all sorts of additional actions going on from the evening before. Mm-hmm. That included things like large posters, as well as the following video here that gives you kind of a sense of what was going on. We'll break it down after. In hotel, crickets, nuggets, everything was spread all over the place. Basic hotel visit, very comfortable. Alarms went off every half hour. Fountain in front was at the blood. Now, protesters outside the buildings were being pepper sprayed.
So we're getting pepper sprayed right now.
Fuck you!
Yeah, I'm good. So they just pepper sprayed.
That last video clip, yeah, it came from Greg Stoker. Who was,
what I'm gonna do?
Mhm.
I'm gonna design cool-looking goggles to wear to protests. I think people need to start wearing goggles to protests.
Like swimming goggles?
Could be, but maybe make them cooler. Like they could do this, or they could have like
Yeah.
cool like lights or something, whatever. Like, just crazy shit. You
Absolutely.
could like have messages going across it, like "fuck the police" or something like that.
There's all sorts of interesting ways. Yeah, there's all sorts of interesting. There's requirements there, and that'd be
Yeah,
more than
masks.
entertained.
And do your goggles. That's it. Go ahead, pepper
Yeah.
spray all you want, losers.
There's very specific criteria and words what you need for protection against pepper spray and tear gas. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
And they're rather easy to do. For somebody like you, it's a little easier than somebody like me because some people like me need eyewear.
Okay, well, wear
Quick
contacts.
lens. I don't know if I can do contacts.
Then I'll get you prescription cool Deana goggles.
Got my eye on you know me. This is just a toy, and I may have already been doing research on this kind of toy because me. But yeah, there's my concern is we haven't seen this in Ontario as much, but we've seen this in Washington D.C. We've seen this in Montreal quite a bit. Pepper spray is quite a used thing as a crowd deterrent, and knowing how things can sometimes escalate, it kind of gets concerning as to whether or not areas might start using it in regards to actions. And the hope is that they don't. But considering what we saw in the video last week from Montreal, where nobody was doing anything, they decided to still pepper spray them
Yeah,
anyway.
they showed up in riot gear and just started beating on people.
Yep.
Yeah, good show, Montreal. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's very, very concerning. So yeah, it is concerning. It's not comfortable, and I've tasted a little bit of pepper spray when I was in Montreal. As I think I said last time, it's not fun. It's very unpleasant, and I did not have that much. I had a whiff of it from a distance.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Washington. But still, back to Washington. They did a great job.
They
of trying
blocked the
to-
road. They ended up delaying the speeches because the politicians weren't able to get through. That was like the road where they had to
Fantastic.
get. Yeah, that was the whole point of that. So
Yeah.
they blocked the road.
Block the road. That's the thing. When protests are done, it's supposed to cause disturbances.
Yeah.
Civil unrest,
Yeah,
disturbance.
you don't need to rush to go see a war criminal, you losers, and then stand up for him and give him a standing ovation like the fucking Nazis that you are. I said it.
I know. I ain't stopping you. And that's exactly it. It's these guys are these guys are protesting. They're going to cause they're going to get into the way. They're going to stop people from getting to their places quickly. Your protests are going to be exactly that. Especially with somebody who's doing as heinous a crime as somebody like Netanyahu, and you're not listening to your population. That's just not going to work well. And
they're all running away. They're all going back to wherever they fucking came from. The Israelis. They're jumping ship.
It is. I mean, the great thing though is that there was at least one protester, and Netanyahu had no choice but to see, because again, they tried to clear up the Jewish people before he got there. They tried to clear out the ones around the hotel, which even though he still probably had experience of it between the fire alarms and everything else, and he probably thought he was going to be feeling safe in Congress, but there was one more thing. Rashida.
Yeah.
Bringing it. So I was hoping that there was going to be more than just her, as in like there's going to be just a couple of more Congress people there showing some solidarity with some kefayas.
Well, those two in front of her didn't clap during the speech parts that I heard of. They didn't clap and they didn't stand up for him.
I don't care. Whoops. Because he's wearing a yellow ribbon.
What's the yellow ribbon for?
It's for all the soldiers that were injured in the war. And so it's usually, and when it comes to North American wars, that's fine. But they're using this for the soldiers of Israel.
Oh.
So I'm like, yeah, you're wearing a yellow ribbon?
That button that the other guy's wearing, because the guy on top of her, above her, has the button and the yellow ribbon. So what's the button? You know what that is?
I don't know what the button is. It could be something unrelated. I know what Rashida's button is.
Me too.
If you were wearing a Palestinian button, cool, you're good. You're wearing the yellow ribbon? No. You're not wearing any of the buttons? I'm like, all right, maybe. But it's just...
True. Okay.
There was one other piece of information I learned, which was apparently there was 100 Congress people that were not there. So
but some of them decided to go meet with the families, like you saw there, of the so-called hostages.
Nancy Pelosi, who decided to go, like, she will not meet with Netanyahu. Good. I'm going to meet with the victims of Israel from the October 7th attack. Yeah. Not the messaging I want to hear. I understand civilian casualties, and I'm not against, civilians shouldn't be harmed. But you still have civilians being harmed by one person who has all the power right now, and that's what needs to be addressed. I'm not happy about civilian casualties, October 7th. But I'm not happy about the civilian casualties that happen in at least 100 timefolds now since October 7th. That's just not having as much attention. So, anywho.
Okay. Well, are we done?
Yes.
This Saturday, Ottawa, 2 p.m.
Sorry. There is one other thing. We need to talk about what Canada's opinion is on Israel.
They don't have an opinion.
Well, the government
Zionism is
doesn't.
legitimate and what?
Not the government's. I'm talking about the people. What do you think the people's opinion is?
The people are overwhelmingly anti-genocide.
You're not wrong. Well, in Canada Today shows that people's opinion of Israel, 55% say it's unfavorable.
Yeah.
27% say it's favorable, and there is still a chunk that's undecided. But the amount is growing and significant. People are learning.
Yeah.
People are looking it up. They're listening. They're finding out. They're researching.
That media woman who they finally did a fucking what do you call it, expose or whatever, and had that doctor who talked about how children are getting sniped, and like the shots are like precision shots in the head and in the whatever. Now mainstream people who aren't fucking paying attention to any of this shit are going to actually see this, and they're going to be like, holy fuck, this is what's been going on. Like, I can't believe people don't know about it, but some people just want to put their heads in the sand. But after, like, those people who are only stuck on mainstream media, and that's why they don't know what to think, because they think both sides are bad, because whatever, until they start to actually realize that the Palestinians have been under Israel's boot for 76 years. And their children are now getting sniped in the head. That's what these monsters are doing. And now you're going to start seeing in mainstream media like that one and others actual atrocities. And yeah, and we go full circle. It's almost been 12 months. We'll go full circle. At the beginning of all this, all those people who spoke out in favor of Palestine, those journalists, and they got fired from their jobs. And now finally the media is going to start covering this shit. Those are and were the good journalists that are telling you the truth from the beginning and not trying to form an opinion. They just wanted to tell the truth, report the truth.
It gives me a lot of a Sarah Jama and the NDP vibe. Right from the beginning, people are just catching up to their message. Yeah. So we're going to start wrapping it up. One of the first things that Deana was mentioning is
this Saturday in Ottawa at the Human Rights Monument at 2 p.m. Go march with them.
By all means, please do.
Lots of dogs there. I used to do a segment called Pups for Palestine.
It's true.
You guys saw all the dogs.
Absolutely. We'll see if we can do that again. I'll take a peek. I'm not committed to Saturday. I need to go check my schedule. A couple things I need to figure out. As well as, don't forget, we're trying to raise money for Deana. So if you can, please go to freedeana.ca. It's up here on the top. Go toss in some money. There's still $25,000 to go. So we're still raising for $25,000. The sooner the better. Please help if you can. That's it for us. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for dropping by. Till then, one last message. See you guys next week. Oh yeah, don't forget, this Friday, we're going to be, again, doing the same thing, TikTok and Twitter Spaces.
And then Joe's going to do his game night on Saturday, probably.
I am, but my game night's a little bit different now. I'm not doing the usual game night, which is the normal games. I'm actually gaming right now, so if you guys are curious to see... So if you're not like Deana and you want to
I'm just kidding. I saw you on live yesterday. I was scrolling through TikTok and I'm like, oh, that's why he's not reading my message.
Yeah, totally. But it's so I'm doing a little bit of different gaming. I've got two other people who are playing a multiplayer game together. So there's about three of us. And tomorrow night we're going to be trying to do it where we're going to have the three people on the video at the same time as we're watching gameplay. So if you want to watch nerds playing games, and with scary mutant creatures in there and other weird, freaky stuff, then yeah, come watch it. It might startle you and scare you. We got probably a part of the weekend that's going to be involved in that too. Till then, have a good night.
Good night,
See you guys on Friday, if not next week. Good night.
Give me money. Leech, give me money. I need veneers, a boob job, Botox, and skin tightening. A new wardrobe, a hair...
Turn it off.